And now to a breaking story out of Florida. New information released in the last 30 minutes. Police say a gunman opened fire on the Florida State University Tallahassee campus. Law enforcement sources say at least 2 people are dead now and at least 6 have been injured. That suspect was shot by officers but is in custody, now identified as the 20-year-old son of a sheriff's deputy. Law enforcement say he had access to one of her guns, which was found at the scene. Much of the police activity near the student union in the center of campus, a busy area with restaurants and activities.
Some of my friends are still on campus in lockdown. They have the university on lockdown for a few hours now until they make sure everything's settled.
Plus, the police say the suspect was a student at FSU Tallahassee. Also breaking, former LMPD officer Roberto Cendino has officially turned himself into police. Cendino has been charged with violating a protective order and stalking. LMPD was notified about the complaint against the then officer back in March and started a public integrity unit investigation. The department says Chief Paul Humphrey began that termination process, but Cendino resigned before it was complete. Cendino was indicted yesterday on charges of unlawful access to a computer, stalking, harassment, and more. Cendino was taken into custody around 4:30 this afternoon. Here at 5, we begin with a new arrest with some connections to the Jamie Knoll case. A man who spent 8 months as the Scott County Sheriff in Indiana, Kenneth Eubanks, was arrested today for tax evasion. State police say he took money from his godmother with dementia, then failed to report the income. Our Ian Hardwick explains the charges and the connection.
Out on $5,000 cash bail, Kenneth Eubanks spent less than 45 minutes in the jail he was once in charge of as Scott County's appointed sheriff. Indiana State Police flagged Eubanks' financials during its investigation into former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll. ISP arrested Eubanks for tax evasion. He allegedly failed to report income for 3 years straight. Income State Police say came from a bank account belonging to Eubanks' godmother with dementia. Over 3 years, Eubanks and his wife, Lindy Eubanks, took $123,833 out of the godmother's accounts, according to a probable cause affidavit for the husband's arrest. Eubanks faces 2 more felony charges for failure to collect sales tax and failure to give proper business records to revenue agents. That's according to court documents where state police established probable cause. Eubanks used to own this building at 520 South Main Street in Scottsburg. According to ISP's arrest affidavit, they say he failed to register as a retail merchant, which means he didn't collect any of the sales tax on the stuff he sold here or on Facebook Marketplace. The court filings also say he failed to pay sales tax when buying antique vehicles and furniture at auctions. These totals are less than the $280,067 allegedly paid to Eubanks and his companies out of the Clark County Jail Commissary Fund from March 2015 to October 2022. From 2004 to 2016, Eubanks worked off and on in various positions in the jail. However, Eubanks doesn't face charges for this connection to Knoll. Still, Eubanks is being prosecuted by Rick Hurdle, the special prosecutor assigned to the Knoll case. Attorney James Guilfoyle represents Eubanks in a separate civil lawsuit. He said he doesn't have the authority to disclose the criminal defense attorney representing Eubanks in this case. In Scottsburg, Ian Hardwick, WHAS11, on your side.
And Kenneth Eubanks is out on bail now. His initial hearing for this case is Tuesday at 1:30. Now to a chaotic scene of apparent road rage near the VA hospital off Zorn Avenue. Police say the driver of this white Jeep first hit a car, then actually hit the teen driver of that car when he got out to look at the damage. Well, after that, the driver of the Jeep took off again, hitting several more vehicles, and then he got out of the Jeep with a sledgehammer. The man was eventually detained by VA police after crashing into a barrier near the VA hospital. LMPD officers took him into custody. He will face both state and federal charges, but as of this newscast, has not yet been identified. LMPD says a woman died after a crash in the Tyler Park neighborhood. It happened just before 7:30 last night. Police say the woman was driving a Jeep and collided with a pickup truck at the intersection of Tyler Park Drive and Baxter Avenue. Police say she had an unknown penetrating wound not associated with the crash. She later died at the hospital. All right, kind of a gloomy day out there, but it's a warm one, Mallory. So what are we in for tonight?
Yeah, temperatures will be staying very mild tonight. We're only going to drop down into the upper 50s to lower 60s. That's because we do have a warm front lifting. We have ridging overhead. That's going to really allow those temperatures to soar for your Friday. Satellite and radar certainly showing the cloud cover we've been dealing with the last few hours here, along with this narrow corridor of rain showing up on the radar. Now, some of it is reaching the ground. You might be seeing a couple of sprinkles, a very light shower, but a lot of it isn't because dew points are still on the low end. So we are dealing with some dry air in place that moisture has to overcome before it does reach the ground. As we take a live look outside, we're starting to see a few breaks in the cloud cover from our First Savings Bank U of L health camera from over in Jeffersonville. Temperatures, they are comfortable. We're at 63 degrees in Bowman Field, 68 at the Louisville International Airport. Winds currently coming in from the east-southeast between about 5 to 10 miles per hour. For the rest of this evening, those clouds will continue to decrease, but temperatures don't really drop off all too much. Much of the evening will be spent in the 60s, with overnight lows tonight just dropping down into the upper 50s. So that's about 10 degrees above normal for our lows this time of year. That's going to give us that really higher jumping off point for our high temperatures tomorrow. It's going to be feeling summer-like for your Friday as highs climb into the lower 80s pretty much all across Kentuckiana. And these temperatures, they stay on the warm side as we head into Easter weekend, but we are tracking a few rain chances Friday night through Monday morning. I'll break those down for you coming up in our extended forecast.
We needed this. Just prove it. Prove that you guys did the right thing, and then this will all go away and we can get back to business.
All new here at 5, Kentucky Auditor Allison Ball has officially launched an audit into the state's medical cannabis program and the way it awarded licenses to cannabis dispensaries, processors, and cultivators. The process has been criticized for months over fairness concerns. WHAS Alexander Goldberg and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton have been following this story. So, Alexander, what does this mean for the industry now?
Well, Connie, at this point, everything is still in play. The Kentucky Auditor Ball said that she'll take a closer look into the state's Office of Medical Cannabis, specifically looking at the application process, how interested business owners submitted their applications, and how winners were selected. Ball says her office received multiple complaints about the fairness of the process, and last month I spoke to an incoming Louisville dispensary who admitted to finding a loophole in the system.
We needed this audit. I want to know for sure that there was no skullduggery or cheating or anything like that going on.
502 Hemp owner Dee Taylor has had a feeling for months now that the execution of Kentucky's medical cannabis lottery was unfair. She's concerned about app stacking, which is when a group of people file applications under different businesses to raise their odds of being chosen in a lottery.
I was under the impression, along with everyone else, that you got your one shot. Granted, could you cheat the system? Sure, but I actually have integrity.
It was just last month we spoke with one of Louisville's dispensaries who admitted to finding the loophole in the lottery by stacking their odds.
We couldn't apply for multiple applications under the same name. So we had to create businesses, 20 different businesses under 20 different names in order to get our applications out there.
From my understanding, it's almost a sort of loophole to get through that app stacking regulation is to file under different LLCs to raise your chances from, let's say, 1 in a couple thousand to, in your case, 20 in a couple thousand.
Yes, absolutely. And, and it paid off. We got 1 out of the 48 tickets.
So we brought this information straight to the governor the next day. His response?
We'd be fine with an audit, but we did it all in public. Every single rule was put out there in a regulation. The public got to comment on it. The legislature got to ask questions. And then the lottery itself was done, on TV.
Now, Kentucky's auditor Allison Ball is investigating how the state received applications and how it drew the winning businesses. Thursday, Governor Andy Beshear did not address the audit, but said the program's rollout is a success.
Because of the way we set up our process. Because of the way we did our lottery, we're moving faster than just about any other state. We're one of the only states that hasn't had the courts enjoin or enter an order stopping the ramp up of all of those businesses.
But Taylor says it's better to be fair than to be fast.
And if this causes it to, to take a little bit longer to get this worked out and figured out and make sure that everybody that's now in this program is on the up and up, they should be okay with that.
Auditor Ball said her office has no further comment at this point in the investigation after Team Kentucky reached out to the governor's office with more questions on the audit and have not heard back yet as of this newscast.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Alexander. Appreciate it.